Hey guys, it's Kevin Answer for Daredevil Season 1, Episode 10, Nelson v. Murdock. And I was definitely looking forward to this episode, especially after the amazing cliffhanger last week. And this was by far one of the best episodes of the season. Definitely was up there with the best ones. And just, again, another fantastic episode. Really, it was. And I loved what this episode gave us. It gave us some of the best scenes. Definitely, this was Foggy's best episode. Whoever plays Foggy, I don't remember his name, but whoever plays him, just best performance on the show by him so far. So, we start off right after we left off last week because we see Matt. He's waking up on the couch in his apartment, and I love the way they start out. He's very battered, he's very bloody, and he finds bloody medical supplies around him. And he realizes that his wounds have been stitched up, and basically he tries to get up, and basically Foggy advises him not to. And Foggy says that Matt had him call Claire, and she stitched Matt up. So Claire is back in the picture, and Foggy asks Matt if and I like what Foggy asked Matt. Foggy is really pissed at Matt for what he did. He asked Matt if he was even blind, and I thought that was a very good scene. I mean, Foggy's to the point where he doesn't even know if he can trust a single word that Matt says, and I definitely really loved seeing that. It was a great way to start the episode, and I love that. So we actually get some really good flashbacks episode on how Foggy and Matt met, which I never really thought of thinking about, but honestly I thought was really interesting. Because Foggy's in his dorm room trying to access his college schedule on his laptop when Matt comes in, and this is the first time they've actually met each other. They introduce themselves, and they very quickly realize that they're roommates, and Foggy very quickly points out that they both grew up in Hell's Kitchen. To him, Matt is like a hero because, of course, he saved the old man from the truck, and he remembers when he saw it. And Matt is happy that Foggy's treating him like a normal man because I guess back then a lot of people didn't. And Foggy figures that girls love the wounded duck routine, that he'll get girls when he's Matt's wingman. And the laptop rings, and Foggy says that he got a course in Punjabi. And I love that Matt figures that he just did to get a girl. I thought that was hilarious, but Foggy takes him out to get coffee, and honestly, that was a great scene, I have to say. I definitely love seeing their interactions. It was by far one of the best parts of the episode. So Matt tries to explain what Wilson is doing exactly. He's trying to explain that this is Wilson's fault and that Foggy shouldn't worry about this. Foggy's not concerned about that, though. He's more concerned that his supported friend has been lying to him for years. And, he's supported him, and I can understand where Foggy's coming from. I mean, he's supported him. But Matt has really good points, too. I mean, obviously, Matt didn't want to do this because he wanted to protect him. And he says that Claire didn't tell him about Matt's condition. I mean, he knows that Claire knew and he didn't, and obviously Foggy feels betrayed after that. I mean, I was surprised that he told Claire, not Foggy. So Matt admits that the nurse only knows because she found him in a dumpster. He really had no choice but to tell her. If you think about it, really, he had no choice. So Foggy wonders if Matt blew up the buildings and admits that he doesn't know what Matt is capable of anymore. He doesn't know if Matt really is, like, this killer and all this stuff. Remember, he thought Daredevil was psycho. He still does, but now it's just his best friend. And Matt tells him that Wilson did it all, and Wilson's ally Nobu attacked him. And Foggy just doesn't really know if he can trust him. And then we get to this I thought was really interesting. Karen calls Foggy, grabs Matt's phone. He's ready to tell her. He's saying that she deserves to know. And I thought that he was legit going to tell her right there, but he doesn't. And he's begging him not to. And Karen then calls Foggy. He takes the call and tells her that Matt was hit by a car and orders her to stay at the office. And she's asking why Matt would drive. And he says no, he was just in a car accident. And once he hangs up, Foggy angrily tells Matt that he lied to someone he cares about and demands to know everything. He wants to know everything that's going on. He wants to know why Matt hid this from him because obviously he's pissed at him for doing this, and that's understandable why. So Wilson then meets Madame Gayo in his penthouse garden, and she points out that he's not the single-minded man that she first allied with. She figures that he set up Nobu to take on Daredevil, knowing the ninja would deal with the matter personally. So Gayo wonders when Wilson will turn on her, and he assures her that she has his respect, switching to English so that Wilson fully understands her. Gayo tells him that he must choose whether to be savior or oppressor, and warns that Wilson doesn't choose, then others will choose for him, which that I thought was really interesting, and we found that out. So, we get a lot more with Ben in this episode, which I thought was surprising me, especially when the episode's called Nelson vs. v. Murdock. We get a lot more with Ben as well. Because Doris Ulrich wakes up in her hospital bed and finds Ben at her side, and we see that his wife is dying, and he's working his notebook and admits that his story has gone away from him, and Doris assures him that he'll figure it out and assures him that he's a reporter, and it's what he is. And Ben isn't so sure, and his wife says that his best stories are still ahead of him. And Doris stares out for a moment, forgets their entire conversation, so she definitely has, like, dementia or very early Alzheimer's, definitely something like that. And Shirley then calls Ben outside to talk about the coverage extension and warns that she did everything she could, but it wasn't enough. So definitely, his wife is having problems. It's something that's very small, but it actually is a big deal because now we know why Ben's doing the stuff he's doing. I mean, he really is doing it to motivate his wife and help out his wife. Clearly, she needs medical attention, and there's no cure for Alzheimer's, but obviously he wants to help her out with that. So you can tell he does. So, at the apartment, Foggy looks at Matt's makeshift costume, and Matt explains that Stick taught him, and I like that Matt told him this, because obviously, Matt pretty much has to tell him everything now. Foggy said, you need to tell me everything. He's going to be honest with him. He explains that Stick taught him how to fight, and how to overcome his blindness, and he demonstrates what he can sense about Foggy. And Foggy realizes that he knew Karen was telling the truth because Matt monitored her heartbeat. Now, that I thought was really interesting, because of course, Foggy never knew that. He never really knew why he thought Karen was telling the truth. And Foggy points out that's a violation of her rights and realizes that Matt always knew when he was lying. So I definitely thought that was a very interesting scene that we saw. I mean, just now him knowing the whole thing with the heartbeat. I mean, now all these things that have happened to him have really made sense. That really goes with a flashback because we then go to a flashback and Matt and Foggy have come home from drinking and Foggy assures his friend that he'll graduate top of his class. He's sure that they'll become lawyers and that's actually when they got the idea for Nelson and Murdock, which I thought was really cool. And he was originally going to call it Murdock and Nelson, but Matt thought it sounded better as Nelson and Murdock, which I thought was cool. So he asked about the Greek girl Matt took Spanish to get close to, and Matt admits that it didn't work. Talk turns to the first time Matt has his drink, and he describes how his father gave him a scotch to steady his hands when Matt stitched him up. And Foggy assures that Jack would be proud of him and tells Matt that his entire family will be coming to see a lawyer in the family. He's looking to become a defensive attorney, and he says that they'll both have fancy offices one day. And that's pretty much how they came up with the idea, is just through that conversation. I thought that was really interesting that we saw that just through one conversation, it pretty much solidified what they were going to do, which I thought was really good. So Ben goes to his office, and Ellison comes in. He notes that Ben passed off a story, and Ben says that he had something personal come up, and the editor then says that they're looking for an editor for Metro in hopes that Ben will take the job, and Ben points out that he's a reporter, not an editor, but Ellison notes that it would come with more pay and better benefits, and in case Ben needs them, he tells Ben to let him know in the next couple of days and leaves. So once he's alone, Ben looks at his organizational chart of Wilson's operation, and Karen arrives at the law office and finds an old shoebox on her desk, and Ben comes right in, startling her, and says that the box has everything he has on Wilson. Everything that they need, to go against Wilson, this pretty much has. So the reporter admits it. Right now, he has something more important in his life, and admits that extension didn't come through, and Ben hands Karen a brochure for a nursing home, and says that he can't afford it, so he's bringing Doris home, and even though she has Alzheimer's, he pretty much has to. So Karen asks him to come with her to a nursing home in upstate New York that might change her mind, and she insists, and Ben reluctantly gives in. So the question is he really going to do this? Is he actually going to take her to a nursing home? I thought that was really interesting when we saw that. And I like seeing Karen and Ben bond this episode. That's definitely something I like seeing. So Wilson and Wesley meet with Leland and tell him what happened to Nobu, and he realizes that Wilson wants him to lie and basically tell Gail that everything is fine when everything clearly is not fine. I mean, things just aren't going right. And Wilson sends Wesley to bring the car and tell Vanessa that he's on his way. And Leland says that things have been getting out of hand since Wilson started seeing Vanessa. And Wilson says that change is inevitable. And that the only reason that's happened is because Wilson he's trying to make himself look like a good person when he's really not. And he says certain relationships are going to change, and I thought that was a really good line. I mean, really, that's true. I mean, when you start seeing someone, your behavior starts to change. You mature as a person. Wilson's definitely maturing, and the financier agrees to tell Gail what Wilson wants him to say, and I thought that was really interesting. So Foggy then gets a call from Mahoney and then tells Matt that the junkie he questioned fell off a rooftop to his death, and he wonders if Matt killed this man. And Matt insists that he told the junkie to turn himself in, but he basically didn't do it. So Matt says that Wilson arranged the murder to cover himself, and admits that he was tempted to kill for the first time after Wilson had Elena killed. So now Foggy knows about that as well. And Foggy reminds Matt of what he said about making the law work for them. And Matt says that sometimes the law simply isn't enough. That's just the truth. Is that just because you have certain laws doesn't mean that you can follow those laws all the time. There's certain times when you just can't follow those laws. You have to go against them, and I like that Matt said that because it's true. Sometimes you do have to go against the law. So it really goes with the fact that people say rules are meant to be broken. That definitely goes with that. So at Lamont and Zach, we see another flashback with Matt and Foggy. This time they're in their office now. And interns Matt and Foggy attend a press conference where Parrish Landman, representing Roxanne Energy, tells the defendant they're pursuing damages against him for leaking the company's secrets, and the old man points out that he only told his doctor so the man could diagnose his condition. And the man's lawyer asks for a minute alone with his client, and back in their office, Foggy tells Matt that he received word that the firm is going to offer them jobs. However, he realizes that Matt is not really upset about this. That Matt is upset about this, and Matt asked Foggy if he thought what happened in there was right and insisted the defendant didn't divulge trade secrets to anyone, and he suggests that Layman and Zach aren't the people that they should be working with, and of course, he knew that they were lying, so he couldn't tell Foggy this right now, but it really is a big scene now, because now, of course, Foggy knows that, and just think of what could have been prevented if Foggy knew that Matt had this. So Foggy grabs a box and starts packing, and we go back into the present, and Matt tells Foggy that to say what he needs to say, and I thought that was a really interesting scene. So as they drive, Ben tells Karen how serious Doris's condition is. They arrive in an expensive nursing home, St. Benezet, and Ben warns that there's no way that he can afford it. And Karen suggests that they just look around, and Foggy says that he doesn't know. So I was wondering if they were actually going to do this. So Foggy says he doesn't know about why Matt runs around in a costume, beating up people. And Matt explains that after his accident, he could hear all the crimes and screams in the city. He still didn't do anything until after they left the firm. He knew he had to take action here. So one night, Matt heard a father raping his daughter, and Matt called child services, but the wife didn't believe it, and the father was careful not to leave a mark. So pretty much he just feels he has to do this. He has to save the city. And a hooded Matt, then we go to the past, we see exactly what happened there, Matt beating the man down, then tells him to stay away from his daughter, and I thought that was kind of unnecessary, because, he just talked about why we need to really see it, but honestly, the way the show works, I see why they did that. So Matt tells Foggy that he never slept better than after that night, because he knew that he did something right, and Foggy points out that Matt trained to fight after Stick left, and knowing he would do something like that, he suggests that maybe Matt was just looking for an excuse to hit someone and can't stop himself, and Matt says that he wants to stop, and I kind of do agree with Foggy saying. I mean, think about what, think of what Father, the priest said to him, the pastor. Think of what he said. I mean, he said to him, we can't control the devil, and the devil will always find our way in. I think that definitely Matt is starting to worry about that, definitely, and I think it's really interesting. So, Karen and Ben look around the nursing home. She suggests they talk to one of the patients. She knocks at the door, and the woman inside, Mrs. Vistain, invites them in. She asks if it's time, and then realizes that it's not the people who usually come for her. They're usually there, and this is completely different. So, Karen asks about her husbands, and Ben finally realizes that Mrs. Vistain is Wilson's mother, which that I thought was a very good twist. I absolutely love that. And that it's understandable why she's crazy, because obviously she saw her son kill her husband right in front of her. Obviously, she's not going to be normal. So she says that Wilson comes to see her every week and that it wasn't her fault what happened to her husband. Karen asks her what Wilson did, and Karen is definitely going to find out what Wilson did to his father, and that's going to be interesting, amazing to see. I can't wait to see how Karen reacts to that, because I didn't think Karen would find that out, but that I thought it was really interesting that Karen is now going to find out what Wilson did to his mother, which is going to be awesome to see. So, Wilson's then at a Hell's Kitchen fundraiser with Vanessa. This might be the first time that something did not go right for Wilson. I really think this was the first episode where something legitimately went horrible for Wilson. So afterward, Leland tells Wilson they talk to Gail, then grabs a drink. Senator Randolph Chariah comes over, asks if Wilson has ever considered running for office. Wilson talks to him privately, and Wesley points out to Vanessa that Chariah won his last election, even though not enough people voted for him. People start dying. Wilson just comes over, just as Vanessa collapses, foaming at the mouth like the others, and Vanessa's dead. So that I thought was really interesting, and we found that out. So this has not gone well for Wilson. I'm pretty sure that people are going to start dying on him, and I'm not really sure who's going to be next, but how this happened, I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Why they're dying, we don't know, and definitely there's something else going on there. I don't really know what it is, though. So, as Matt checks his wounds, Foggy warns him that he's going to get himself killed, and I like that Foggy said that, because obviously he's worried about Matt's safety. It's pretty obvious he was. And he says that they're a part of it now, and they say they didn't have a say in it. And Matt asks if Foggy would put on a mask and fought if he ever could save Elena. And Foggy points out that Matt intended to kill Wilson, and that his friend doesn't sound any different than Wilson does. And I do kind of see what Foggy says. I mean, Matt and Wilson are very similar characters. The difference is, while Matt saves the city by saving people, Wilson wants to take out the city by killing the weak from the strong. That's really what Wilson wants to do. So Matt says he made a mistake, and Foggy points out that if he went to jail, then people would think Foggy and Karen knew it all along, which obviously they didn't. Karen doesn't even know about it, which I'm pretty sure she is going to find out at some point, but she doesn't know right now. So Matt says that the city needs him in the mask, and Foggy says that he might be right, but he needs his friend. He tells Matt that he wouldn't have kept it from him, and he walks out. So he knows his secret now, and I thought that was definitely very sad. You definitely see that they're starting to, their friendship is very slowly decreasing, and I thought that was really sad. So we go to the past, and Foggy and Matt go to Josie's to drink. Matt is injured and claims he has tripped falling out the trash, and Foggy finishes writing out their office's sign on a napkin. And Foggy missed that he's scared at the thought, but he assures Matt that he's with him. And Matt says that there's no one he'd rather be doing it with, and they share a toast to Nelson and Murdock, attorneys at law. And Foggy then goes to the office, looks at their new sign, throws it in the garbage, and leaves with his things, and that's how the episode ends. So definitely their relationship is strained right now. Their friendship is strained. I'm not really sure if they're going to be able to fix it. I'm pretty sure they will, but we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Let's talk about Karen. I think definitely Foggy wants to bring Karen into the fold, obviously. I mean, Karen is the only person that doesn't know. Everybody else on this show that's important knows. Foggy now knows. The only person that doesn't know is Karen. She has to find out at some point. I mean, she's going to get suspicious. It's pretty obvious she's definitely going to get suspicious. I mean, how could you not get suspicious from something like that? I mean, it just seems like she had to get suspicious, really. I don't see Karen not getting suspicious over something like this. You just, how do you not just start getting ideas from what's going on? Just think about what's going on and try making a connection there. Definitely there's something going on there. So, is Karen going to find out what Wilson did to his father? That's going to be very interesting to see if she actually finds it out. That could be very interesting. Things aren't going well for Wilson. I think things are going to start to go very badly for Wilson, and I kind of like that because thus far in the show, Wilson's gotten pretty much everything he's wanted, and now Vanessa's dead, so I feel like people are just going to start turning dead on him. I don't know who's doing it exactly, but we'll have to see what happens there. Is Ben going to take his wife, Doris, to this insane asylum? Is he really going to take her there? We'll have to see what happens there as well. And also, what's going to happen with Doris? I kind of feel like Doris is going to die, but we'll have to see what really ends up happening there. I think that's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I kind of do see Foggy helping out Matt. I think in, not now, but maybe later seasons, Foggy's going to become like Matt's like sidekick. I could definitely see it happening. I mean, that probably is the best thing for Matt to do. He could have offered Foggy to help him, but of course, Foggy didn't really answer his question. So that I thought was definitely very interesting that we saw as well. I wish that, he would have listened to Matt, but obviously he doesn't want to listen to Matt right now. Why he doesn't want to, I don't know, but he doesn't want to for whatever reason. So that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I don't have too much to say about this episode. I really don't. It was definitely more of just a episode where we found out stuff about Foggy and Matt. I really didn't have too much to say about it because it didn't really tell us anything we didn't already know. We already knew, that Foggy and Matt were friends, but this just showed us, there's just deepened their friendship. It showed that they've been friends for this long, and all this time Matt knew the secret and Foggy didn't, and the things that could have, the things that if you would have known wouldn't have happened probably. I think that's really interesting as well. I like seeing Wilson not getting what he wants. I think that's really well done as well. We have 3 episodes left this season. I have no idea what's going to happen. At this point, honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen. I really don't, and I'm so excited to see what happens in these last 3 episodes. Honestly, the show's just getting better and better as it goes on, and I absolutely love this episode. But this is my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, guys, another great episode. Definitely one of the best episodes of the season by far. And we'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Girl Meets World, which, yes, it is back tonight, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.